All right, so let's go top to bottom. We'll start with 2sum. Wipe out the existing solution. And the problem says, given a one-indexed array of integers called numbers that is already sorted in non-decreasing order, find two numbers so that they add up to a specific target. Let those numbers be index 1 of numbers and index 2 of numbers, where 1 is less than or equal to the index, and so on. So it's one indexed. And we'll return the indices in a list that will always have length 2. Tests are generated so that there's exactly one solution. We can't use the same element twice, but we're guaranteed to have a solution, and we're guaranteed not to need to worry about duplicate solutions. Given that it's sorted, I intuitively expect a pointer or window method. Let's use 2 pointers. I need to scan every number in numbers. So worst case, time complexity is O of n. Pointers use O of 1 space complexity. Here's left, and right will be at the end of numbers. We can find that index by taking the length minus 1. And the exit condition is if they cross, because the sum will be the same. Whether I add 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, the sum will be the same. So there's no point in continuing once those hands meet. So the exit condition, which forms our control flow here. And I don't need to worry about exiting the loop. I'm pretty much guaranteed to find a solution before I exit that loop. So the current sum is the left index of numbers plus the right index of numbers. And a few things could happen. We could say the current sum is above the target. It could be below the target, or we are at target. When we're at target, we'll just go ahead and return. Notice that I initialized left to 0, but the question is asking for the one indexed solution. User 838 and so on says, what's the question? This is 2 sum 2 when the input array is pre-sorted. So since I'm using left with a value initialized to 0, but the solution is asking for the one indexed value, I just add 1. If you're on TikTok, I'd appreciate it if you give the video some likes. You can just tap the screen. That will help the algorithm send the video around to other people who want to learn. And if you want to see the full screen, you can go to the link in my bio and check out YouTube or Twitch. So here I had this pseudocode called after, or did I say above? Anyway, the code literal is current sum is greater than target. And for below, the code literal is cursum is less than target. Thank you so much for the likes. So if the current sum is above the target, what I would like to do is take my right hand. Remember, it's sorted increasing. So the right-handed is pointed at a higher number. I'd like to take that right hand and move it to the left, which will decrease the sum under the window. Does that make sense? So here I will minus equals 1. And in the other case, I will move the left hand up. Plus equals 1, which will do the inverse, and it will increase. As both hands migrate to the right, the overall sum increases. Great. Nice little few-minute warm-up. We'll move on to 3sum now. And the problem is as follows. Given an integer array called nums, let's return all of the triplets, meaning there could be more than one. Let's return all of the triplets such that I, j, k are distinct. and the sum of the indices I, j, k in nums, the sum of the triplet is 0. Notice that the solution must not contain duplicate triplets. So this is a two-way deduplication. The indices must be deduplicated, and the values must be deduplicated. Which means that I should probably use a set because the key will be deduplicated. Okay, here in example 1, -1, and 2 sum to 0. So -1, the value can be repeated, but the group value, -1, -1, 2, cannot be repeated. And then in example 2, we see an empty output. So when we say all the triplets, we do need to deal with the sad case where all of the triplets is just an empty set. We need to deal with that as well. So for targeting my time complexity, I think I need to scan every number. So I need to loop at least O of n. For each number, there is a two-part ambiguous complement. If I sort nums, I can find that lower two sum in O of n. So overall time complexity is O n squared. To do this, I need just pointers. So memory complexity, or space complexity rather, is O of 1. Thank you for the follow, Troy. Is it possible to get a developer job by being self-taught from Codecademy, etc., etc.? I'm self-taught and I originally used Codecademy. So it is possible. That is not the thing that I recommend, though. It's possible, but it's not the best way to learn. So check out latterly.io, link is in my bio, and that has a step-by-step checklist that will help you learn to code and land your first or next programming role. David, thank you for the follow. Okay, so I need some outer pointer here. I'm on full stack currently there. I'll check it out. Thank you. Very welcome. Yeah, and you can join the Discord for free. And if you have more questions, if I don't get to them in the stream, we can chat over there. Full stack is a great option. So here I'll say outer left, and we'll have that go to 0. How much is it? How much is what? Latterly has a free tier. It's free and open source, if that's what you're asking. Codecademy has different options. I don't know what their pricing is right now. Okay, so outer left is 0. What else do I need at the outer layer? I need results, which we've said should be a set. So we will input tuples into that, which are hashable. So outer left is going to help us scan through the entire list of numbers. You good. Why do you keep doing the same questions? Because the kata is a memorization-based approach. I think I've mentioned this before. But if you check out blog article 3, the latterly Leetcode Kata, it will basically explain the whole background of why this approach is really, really effective. I mean, when you exercise, for example, do you do the same exercises over and over? So the concept of cognitive load is really advantageous. What kata level do they ask in interviews? It depends on the role that you're interviewing for. Basically, at the junior level, they'll ask easy questions, like roughly. At the mid-level, they'll ask mediums, and at the senior level, they'll ask a combination of mediums and hards. Occasionally, you can get a hard question as an intermediate developer interviewing. Just move on with your life. Just move on with your life. Unfortunately, sometimes interviewers will give you a hard because they want you to fail. It happens. Should I be memorizing? Yes, I think you start by memorizing. So these interview types are known as data structure and algorithm interviews. And I think the wrong approach is to try to learn the patterns without learning the concreta. So you learn the abstract pattern, but you have no concrete correlate. I think that's the wrong approach. I think the right approach is to learn how to code in concrete terms first, and then learn how to abstract from there. So memorizing helps you learn the general pattern. I thought you need to memorize DSA and how to tell what DSAs are applicable to a prompt. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Mary says, even for front end. No, Mary. It's definitely possible to get a front end role without doing any Leetcode at all. But if you go to big tech, if you go to Facebook, you will basically get Leetcode. Now, they won't say that. So I've been through the Facebook interview loop, and I did the front end interview loop at Facebook, and it was actually harder than the back end. Because they told me it would be a front end problem. So I thought, okay, great, this will come naturally. And that it would use the document object and so forth. And I conducted the interview, and I actually got a topological sort problem, which was harder than an ordinary topological sort problem because it used JavaScript promises and HTML fragments. So it was kind of the worst of both worlds. So it depends where you're applying. Basically, tier 2, tier 3, you don't really need Leetcode for front end. Tier 1, you still need it. You still need to understand how to solve a topological sort problem, and it's going to be even harder than the back-end form. Eric says, my issue is understanding the question. Just takes repetition. If you stick with the kata, you're going to definitely understand it. It just takes practice. Okay, so we have this outer left, and it's moving along, iterating through the list of numbers. We need to make sure that we sorted the numbers. That's something that I forgot to do. Okay. So now that it's sorted, my outer left index is moving along, and it's compressing the window until we're done searching. So here I need to find the complement, which is going to be the opposite of the outer left index of nums. When I have that complement, now I want to call toSum. And then I want to fast forward dupes. Call toSum, which will just look like this. Self toSum. Okay, we want to pass it nums, we want to pass it outer left, we want to pass it the complement, we want to pass it results. Okay, I think that's what we need. To fast forward, we will increment outer left under some conditions, 2 conditions. One is that we're not out of bounds. While in bounds, and complement unchanged. Basically, while we're in bounds and the complement is unchanged, we should just skip calling toSum because we're not going to get a new unique solution. How often do you hold these lives? Monday through Friday. Thanks for being here, Mary. It's great to see you. You can also follow the page, and in my bio, there's like a Latterly website, and you can join the Discord there if you have questions that I don't see. Can we code something else? We're just going through the kata. Once this is done, we'll move on to the next one. By the way, if you want to see like projects instead of kata, tune in at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So I do like open source contributions and stuff like that at like 9 p.m. Oh, let me give a quick plug to DevLeader. Speaking of things that are not Leetcode that I've done recently. So I just had a podcast with DevLeader. Here it is, just dropped today. So you can check out Dev Leader, and he's also on TikTok. So we helped him get over 5K on YouTube. Great job, community. We also want to get him over 1K on TikTok. If he gets over 1,000, he can do live streams, and that will help the whole community get educated, right? So I think that's a great goal. Okay, so how do we know that we're in bounds? Well, we can just repeat this upper expression. This is the expression that guarantees that we're in bounds. And how do we know that the complement is not changed? Well, we can basically reverse this assignment expression. So we're treating the complement as a cached value here, and we're saying, hey, I incremented outer left. Is the opposite still the same? By construction, that's guaranteed to hit once. So we don't have to worry about spinning our loop. It will enter this while loop, and it will increment at least once, and maybe it will increment more than that. Okay, let's go build twosome now. Is it a bad idea to use ChatGPT for everything? I don't copy though, it just helps me, but I don't know if I should. Hey, ChatGPT is great. I'm a big fan. I do think it matters whether you are building a project or doing Leetcode. And I would encourage you to, for Leetcode, it's like looking up the solution basically. And it's totally okay to look up the solution. In fact, if you get stuck, you should look up the solution. So I recommend a 20-minute time box, a 20-minute time box. So do use ChatGPT, but use it correctly. How do you use it correctly for data structure and algorithm interviews? You want to look at it as a solution lookup after you've already tried without it. And that's important basically because you need to memorize. And you need to memorize because at interview time, you will not be allowed to use ChatGPT for traditional style whiteboard interviews. For projects though, you can use it right from the beginning and you can use it at the design phase. I think that's a great approach. I've done that myself. You do need to be able to understand and audit ChatGPT. I actually like the term Copilot more because Copilot makes it clear that you need to review what comes out of it. One of the problems I see with ChatGPT is that a student has trouble auditing the output of ChatGPT. The student has trouble telling when ChatGPT is hallucinating instead of giving real advice. There are some ways that you can find out. I mean, guess and check is one way that you can find out. But the other is that you leverage multiple search strategies and you look for a robust result. What is a robust result? It's one that multiple search strategies affirm. So let me just point you at the search strategies here. I'm signing up to Latterly. I'm unlocking the standard checklist for free. Join the Latterly Discord, and the search techniques are so critical. So use ChatGPT alongside 7 other search techniques. It's included in this video. Oh, golly. What is this? Oh, no, I need to fix that. This should be a question mark. Yeah, this is the video. Search techniques for coding. Let's see. Let me make a quick GitHub issue. The checklist is broken. This is actually a great first issue if y'all want to come contribute. Cool. Well, I know what I'll be working on at my next session unless someone else picks it up first. Can you use Google for whiteboard interviews or no resources at all? You need to ask your particular company. It's going to vary by company. Many companies will allow you to do a Google search for syntax. So you can't search for a solution to the problem, but you can search for syntax in many cases. Okay. So here on toSum, I'm copying the arguments over. Here I'll have my left is 0, my right is length nums minus 1. But my left really isn't 0 because I want to only explore the window to the right of the outer left. Keegan, thanks for the follow. Oh, wow, got a bunch of follows right there. Thank you so much. And then what do we return? We don't return anything. We just do the work over here. We want to get cursum is left val plus right val. Left val is the left index of nums. Right val is the right index of nums. Our condition here, just like we did in the last problem, whenever left crosses right, we're doing duplicate work. So we'll exit before that because the sum of 1 and 2 is the same as the sum of 2 and 1. So when they flip, you don't need to check the adding. If above, else if below, else. Match found. Append sorted tuple. And then fast forward duplicates. So the sorted tuple, I don't need to run sort. It can be constructed in sorted form deterministically. And this is a sorted tuple of values, right? So our solution here wants the output values, not the output indices. So here I'll do the nums outer left, then left val, then right val. Do you see how those are always in order? They're always furthest left, least far left, least far left. Cool. So what's the condition here? While inbounds and cursum unchanged. What do? We are going to perturb either side, but I'll pick left. I'll pick left for consistency with our whole moving from left to right approach. Inbounds, we can use the same left less than right condition. Cursum unchanged. We have cursum, so we can say cursum is equal to nums left plus nums right. So we're incrementing the left, so the right expression is changing as I move my index. And we're doing a cache check each time. So we might skip a bunch of cycles that way, which is a good thing. Okay, this is a pseudocode for above. Now let's replace it with the real code. So what does above mean? It means current sum is greater than target. Well, here I don't have a target. What do I have? I have a complement. Okay, current sum is greater than complement. Fair enough. Below means below, less than. When my sum is less than the complement, I want to increase it by taking my left pointer and incrementing it. And the reciprocal is true in the above case. I want to shrink it so that I'm zeroing in on my complement. Does that make sense? Here we're on the solution class. I have this method called toSum. It says that it's not recognized. I think that's an indentation problem. Let me dedent one step. Result is not a thing. Did you mean results? I did. Thank you for checking on that. Results. Let me do a quick scan. Okay. My favorite genre of programming. What's up, Chris? Okay, so here my output is nothing, but I expected these things. So what went wrong here? What went wrong here? We never entered this block. Why did we not enter this block? We can add some debug statements if needed. For now, I'm just looking through the code. So I sorted, and then I'll have my outer left pointing at -1 initially, so the complement should be 1. It seems like I'm not appending. It seems like this is never appending, or this block is never getting hit. Is add the wrong term? Is it append? I think not. So I guess we're never getting here. Let's print that sorted tuple, and we'll confirm that we're just never getting here, basically. Oh, it says that I am. -1, -1, 2. Well, it says that I'm getting the right answer, but somehow results is not. Okay. Yeah, I have to return result. I have to return results. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's get rid of that print statement. I didn't return results. Okay. That always helps. Agree, agree. Oh, look at that. We beat 80% of the people. That's cool. Now we are on to the next problem. Next problem is the longest substring without repeating characters. Yeehaw. What does that mean? Let's read the problem. Would you recommend computer science degrees starting 2025 January? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Given a string S, find the length of the longest substring without repeating characters. For example, ABC, ABC, BB, the longest substring is ABC. In example 2, it's just a bunch of B's. So the furthest substring we can generate without repetition internal to the substring would be a lone B, a singular B. So the return value is 1. They're looking for the integer return value we can see. And it's also interesting to note that under constraints, 0 is permissible. A 0 length is permissible. So I might be fed an empty string. It seems like a lot of time compared to self-study. It is a lot of time. It is a time trade-off. It is a risk-time trade-off. And it's a risk compensation trade-off. So as a self-taught engineer, by the way, I am a self-taught engineer, so I can speak to this with confidence, you will likely enter the market at a lower price point, at lower salary. So if you're interested in going directly to FANG, you can enter the market through self-study, and then it's going to take you a couple years anyway. So you're looking at the 3 to 5 year range anyway, whether you go self-taught or whether you go college. Now, maybe you're saying, I don't care about FANG, I just want something. Then a coding bootcamp or self-teaching will be potentially faster, but it's actually not actually faster on average because the typical self-taught programmer just fails. It's a sad reality. It's a harsh reality. The typical self-taught developer just fails to do it. If you look at MOOC rates, a massive online course, your CS, what is it? I don't know. What is it? OpenCS 101? OpenCS. Yeah, this thing, right? Only about 5% of students actually get through the thing. I think it's less than that. I think I'm rounding up to 5. So the college approach is slower because that allows more people to get through. It's slower by construction. It's a sort of like lowest common denominator approach. Not lowest common denominator of all society, of course, but lowest common denominator of those admitted through the admissions criteria. So there's a filtering step. Once you pass that filter, then it becomes a lowest common denominator game that sets the pace for the overall program. That's why it feels slow, because it is slow. We call it a 4-year degree, but the average student takes 5 years, don't they? Overall, my recommendation, because I'm recommending to a large audience and I haven't done a personalized review of you, my overall recommendation is a risk-averse recommendation that you should probably go to college. You should probably go to college. Don't pick the outrageous expensive college. Pick a nice upper middle tier college. So don't go to the worst college. Don't go to the best college. Like even Harvard CS. Sounds great, doesn't it? The ROI isn't great, actually. The ROI isn't great, actually. If you go to an upper middle college, that's going to be your risk-adjusted ROI maximization for the typical student. Also, you can go to latterly.io and do a personal consult with me if you think that you might be a special case, because it's true. If you are a special case, college will just slow you down. But most people aren't special cases. So how do you know? How do you know if you're a special case or not? Well, there are some measures that you can take. So feel free to book a call with me. What about compared to a diploma in comp sci? Are you from UK? Are you from the United States or not? We typically don't refer to it as a diploma in the United States. I think you might be referring to an associate's degree. The associate's degree is typically not a good investment. You're from Canada, right? Okay. I haven't done like the same study in Canada that I've done in the States, but in the United States anyway, the associate's degree is typically not an optimal investment. It's typically not an optimal investment. Look, yeah, I'd recommend you book a call with me because it seems that you're dealing with a unique situation, and doing a proper analysis of that deserves significant time. I guess you might be wondering about whether you should work and go to school at the same time in that case. It sounds like you might be in a cash-strapped environment. It's important not to be hasty about giving advice in such cases. It's important to do like a detailed review. Thanks for the likes, Chris. Okay, if you're getting value out of the video, go ahead and tap the screen and give it some likes. Chris said, I did associates, then transferred as 2 years at university to get a Bachelor of Science. That is one approach. That is one approach. I also went to community college for 2 years. It is one approach. I don't say that it's a generally optimal approach. Okay. I mean, the longest substring would just be the whole string, right? The longest substring could be the whole string. So worst case, Mary, I'm trying to work on the issue for your website on GitHub. Can you give me a... Thanks, Mary. Can you give me a hint of what folder I would find the checklist under? The checklist is in the Prisma. Yeah, okay, let me show you that quickly. I'll pull up VS Code. The checklist is data. It's not hard-coded, Mary. So if you're looking for an HTML file, you're just not going to find it. So my -checklist in Next.js, the routes are based on the file name. So here you can see my basic checklist. So this is the file, but this is not the location where you want to make the change. But this is the file that renders the checklist. See you, Chris. So this is the file that renders the checklist. Oni on Twitch. What's up, Twitch? Twitch is my smallest following. I love it when I see people over there. I had to search so much in Twitch to finally get someone doing DSA. Are you streaming somewhere else as well? Yes. YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Okay, so Mary, this is the My Basic Checklist page, and it has this query handler, so it's going to make a database call. It uses a query pattern, use query. is a query pattern to get data out of the database. So where's the checklist? It's in the database. That's where it is. And I don't know. There's two ways to fix it. One way to fix it would be like a string replace pattern. If you run into that F thing, just do the HTML parsing here. Another would be to update the data. Is my JSON file, so how does the data get there? That's through seeding. So under the DB folder, there's the migrations. That's SQL migrations. And the checklist is open. Okay, so here's the JSON file that includes the checklist data. Yeah, so checklist.json, search techniques for coding, here it is. And this is the issue. You see this thing right here? It's good at this point in time, but when it's sent to the database and then returned to the client, at some point, this is getting HTML encoded into like #F or whatever is the encoding for question mark. So that's basically the problem. Thank you so much for taking a look at it. Yeah, %3f is what it's getting HTML encoded into. All right, let's get back to longest substring without repeating characters. We know that the worst case time complexity is O of n because you might need to search the whole thing, right? I'll try, but it might be too advanced. Yeah, it might be, but it's still, I still appreciate you taking a look. And you can join the Discord. Let me show you one more time. If you go to latterly.io, you go community, you can join the Discord. And one of the things that we chat about is like how to add features and how to fix bugs. So don't feel that you need to do this in a silo. Like the community is really important. Thank you so much. Just join the Discord. Awesome. So we can talk about it later. And yeah, if you want to fix it, I can maybe even walk you through how to fix it. So we can do that later. All right. Let's get back to this. Worst case time complexity is O of n. What about the space complexity? Yeah. I need to, space complexity might need to store all of the characters except the last char. So we can tell if the last char is a duplicate. So worst case, space complexity is O of n. Okay, so here I'll have the longest substring length, which is going to be initially 0 to do, and then I'll return that longest substring length over here. So that's going to be the structure, and here I'll have a while. Here I'll have a what? I don't want a while loop here, actually. I don't want, oh, I mean, I guess I could write it with a while loop, but that doesn't seem to be the best thing to do. Fine, we'll do a while loop. We'll make an outer left index is less than length of nums. This doesn't actually seem to be the best thing to do, but that's fine. So here's just an iteration index tracker. Outer left will initialize it to 0, an iteration index tracker. Now I need to build my cache of strings that I've seen, or like strings that I've seen, right? Okay. So I have my current character is the outer left of S. Chris, no cheating, Chris. Shame, shame, shame. You actually don't need a hash table for this problem, Chris. You can do it with a set. It's going to be more memory efficient. Only linearly memory efficiency. So it doesn't really matter, but it actually is a little more efficient. The more important thing is the fundamental, is like, why are you using a set or a hash set, or like, why are you using a hash table? The keys are irrelevant. So fundamentally, the indication of the hash table is just like irrelevant. What you need is, you need the Boolean indication, whether it's been seen or not. Raul says, how's it going? I just started my journey to code. What's up, Raul? Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. If you're getting value out of the video, go ahead and tap it to give it some likes. We're in Python right now. Doing this in Python. And a comment from YouTube. What's up? Arnab. Arnab, I think we've seen you before. Arnab says, or an array if the character range is known, like small letters only. It is possible. It is possible. And in this case, I think we are, let's check the constraint. We are guaranteed English letter, digit, symbol, and space. So you could use the ASCII. You could use the ASCII map, and it would be a fixed set, wouldn't it? So this approach compared to an array is only linearly more efficient. Isn't that crazy? You can use an array for this. You can use an array for this. Linear efficiency matters. Linear efficiency does matter. I know we often talk about asymptotic complexity as if it's the only thing that matters. And it will probably, like, you'll pass your Leetcode interview, I bet. You'll be able to use a hash map and maybe even use an array. Maybe. That kind of might start to be a red flag, because it really is the wrong structure to use. Even though it's linearly slower, the linear factor is something like 50x. So that Leetcode will TLE you. You will get a timeout. But hey, maybe you could still pass too. I mean, if you can know what you're talking about with your interviewer, right? And show them why this is a fixed set linear increase that is asymptotically irrelevant. Maybe they'll say, whoa, this is a sharp guy, and pass you anyway. As for me, I like the set. I like the set. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to say if the current character has already been seen. That's bad. Do something with left. Aha, now I have a lag left that I need. So I have a lag left, which is also going to be 0. Right, so outer left here is not a good name. How about right IDX? So we have the right IDX. We have 2 pointers that are both initialized to the far left of S. And one is going to grow, and it might grow the whole way. But if we run into a duplicate, I need to move my left. Okay, so let's say that we've resolved that already, although we haven't, but we'll come back and fix that. Given that I have resolved it, what is my current substring length? It's just going to be my right IDX minus my lag left IDX plus 1. And let me use the term IDX to make it clear that these are the indices. I'll just call it left IDX. We need to add the 1 because consider the case where both are pointing at the same character. So index 1 minus index 1 gives a value of 0, but the length of the substring is 1 in that case. So it's add the 1 there. Hustle Have, what up, what up? Getting a cybersecurity cert. Would you say easy to learn? No, I don't think programming is easy. I don't think programming is easy. Okay, so let's also make sure that we mark this as seen now. And we now need to set our global maximum. So the global maximum is the maximum of, like, maybe it was already big, and maybe the local maximum. Maybe calling it local length makes it clear that we're dealing with a global and a local maximum. So I have my current string that's growing, but is it the biggest one that I've seen? Because we want the longest one across the whole S. Great. Good, good, good. I think the problem is done with the exception of this block right here. So what do we do right here? The problem here is that we ran into a duplicate. So here we're in the case example 1, ABC, ABC, BB. So we run into that B, the duplicate B. Maybe the duplicate A is first. You run into a duplicate A. So I have ABC in my window. Then I go over here to another A. That's a problem. What do I need to do? I need to move my left. How far do I need to move it? All the way? No, just needs to move one iteration. So left plus equals 1. Ooh, this should be the right index over here. The current character is as we navigate the right hand. So the current character is as we navigate the right hand. But now, if I run into a duplicate, I need to move my left hand. If I took my right hand back and then I'm iterating forward, I'd just create a cycle for myself. So that's not a solution. So the solution is to dedupe off of left. So here I've incremented my left, but did it fix the problem? I don't know. I don't know if it fixed the problem. So let me make this into a while. So I've removed left. So scene.remove left value. Okay, and what is left value? Left value is the left IDX of S. So we remove that left character and then we move left forward. But did that fix the problem? I don't know. I might have to move a few times. So that's why we use this while statement. Oh gosh, update from Reddit. Let's go have a look at what that is. I need to be done with my stream first though. I think that's right. So we're moving left until the current character is not in scene any longer. And the reason it's not in scene is because it will have been purged by this left removal. Let's give it a go. Let's see if this is right. Nums is not defined. Did you mean dumps? No, I meant S. Key error B. Key error B. So we can't remove a character that we've never seen before. How do we have a character that we've never seen before? Because it's the first. How do we have a character that we've never seen before? Because left has gotten further ahead than right. Left has gotten further ahead than right. Something is bad here. Left should never get further ahead than right. The Bean. I'm here just to say that Leetcode is the devil's spawn. Yeah, it's not great, is it? It's not great. Definitely, we need to innovate on the way that we interview in tech. I'm a big advocate of that. Bro, left and right are set to 0. You are only shifting right. Hey, don't give away the answer. Don't give away the answer. All right, now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it, but I wish you wouldn't give away the answer. Okay, so I need to increment my right? All right. Thanks. Thanks for giving it away. Great. Now I'm a cheater, Bean. Great. Oh, I thought this was one of the quiz 1L stuff. Oh, you were trying to help me out. Okay. All right. You're a good dude. All right. I'm giving you a hug in my brain, so I'm not mad. Hey team, I am going to wrap up early today because I have an email from Reddit and I'm really excited to read about how they're not going to move forward in the interview process with me. So